INTJ.
INTJ is an abbreviation used in the publications of the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator to refer to one of the 16 personality types. INTJs are one of the rarest of the 16 personality types, and account for approximately 1 to 2% of the population. The MBTI assessment was developed from the work of prominent psychiatrist Carl G. Jung in his book Psychological Types. Jung proposed a psychological typology based on the theories of cognitive functions that he developed through his clinical observations. From Jung's work, others developed psychological typologies. Jungian personality assessments include the MBTI instrument, developed by Isabel Briggs Myers and Catherine Cook Briggs, and the Keirsey temperament sorter, developed by David Keirsey. Keirsey referred to INTJs as masterminds, one of the 4 types belonging to the temperament he called the rationals.
The MBTI instrument.
The MBTI preferences indicate the differences in people based on the following: how they focus their attention or get their energy, extroversion or introversion, how they perceive or take in information, sensing or intuition, how they prefer to make decisions, thinking or feeling, how they orient themselves to the external world, judgment or perception. By using their preference in each of these areas, people develop what Jung and Myers called psychological type. This underlying personality pattern results from the dynamic interaction of their 4 preferences, in conjunction with environmental influences and their own individual tendencies. People are likely to develop behaviors, skills, and attitudes based on their particular type. Each personality type has its own potential strengths as well as areas that offer opportunities for growth. The MBTI tool consists of multiple-choice questions that sort respondents on the basis of the 4 dichotomies, pairs of psychological opposites. 16 different outcomes are possible, each identified by its own 4-letter code, referred to by initial letters. N is used for intuition, since I is used for introversion. The MBTI is approximately 75% accurate according to its own manual. I. Introversion preferred to extroversion. INTJs tend to be quiet and reserved. They generally prefer interacting with a few close friends rather than a wide circle of acquaintances, and they expend energy in social situations, whereas extroverts gain energy. N. Intuition preferred to sensing. INTJs tend to be more abstract than concrete. They focus their attention on the big picture rather than the details and on future possibilities rather than immediate realities. T. Thinking preferred to feeling. INTJs tend to value objective criteria above personal preference or sentiment. When making decisions they generally give more weight to logic than to social considerations. J. Judgment preferred to perception. INTJs tend to plan their activities and make decisions early. They derive a sense of control through predictability, which to perceptive types may seem limiting.
Characteristics of INTJs.
INTJs are analytical. Like INTPs, they are most comfortable working alone and tend to be less sociable than other types. Nevertheless, INTJs are prepared to lead if no one else seems up to the task, or if they see a major weakness in the current leadership. They tend to be pragmatic, logical, and creative. They have a low tolerance for spin or rampant emotionalism. They are not generally susceptible to catchphrases and do not readily accept authority based on tradition, rank, or title. Hallmarks of the INTJ include independence of thought and a desire for efficiency. They work best when given autonomy and creative freedom. They harbor an innate desire to express themselves by conceptualizing their own intellectual designs. They have a talent for analyzing and formulating complex theories. INTJs are generally well suited for occupations within academia, research, consulting, management, science, engineering, and law. They are often acutely aware of their own knowledge and abilities, as well as their limitations and what they don't know, a quality that tends to distinguish them from INTPs. INTJs thus develop a strong confidence in their ability and talents, making them natural leaders. In forming relationships, INTJs tend to seek out others with similar character traits and ideologies. agreement on theoretical concepts is an important aspect of their relationships. By nature INTJs can be demanding in their expectations, and approach relationships in a rational manner. As a result, INTJs may not always respond to a spontaneous infatuation but wait for a mate who better fits their set criteria. They tend to be stable, reliable, and dedicated. Harmony in relationships and home life tends to be extremely important to them. They generally withhold strong emotion and do not like to waste time with what they consider irrational social rituals. This may cause non-INTJs to perceive them as distant and reserved. Nevertheless, INTJs are usually very loyal partners who are prepared to commit substantial energy and time into a relationship to make it work. As mates, INTJs want harmony and order in the home and in relationships. The most independent of all types, INTJs trust their intuition when choosing friends and mates, even in spite of contradictory evidence or pressure from others. The emotions of an INTJ are hard to read, and neither male nor female INTJs are apt to express emotional reactions. At times, INTJs seem cold, reserved, and unresponsive, while in fact they are almost hypersensitive to signals of rejection from those they care for. In social situations, INTJs may also be unresponsive and may neglect small rituals designed to put others at ease. For example, INTJs may communicate that idle dialogue such as small talk is a waste of time. This may create the impression that the INTJ is in a hurry, an impression that is not always intended. In their interpersonal relationships, INTJs are usually better in a working situation than in a recreational situation.
Cognitive functions.
Drawing upon Jungian theory, Isabel Myers proposed that for each personality type, the cognitive functions, sensing, intuition, thinking, and feeling, form a hierarchy. This hierarchy represents the person's default pattern of behavior. The dominant function is the personality type's preferred role, the one they feel most comfortable with. The secondary auxiliary function serves to support and expand on the dominant function. If the dominant is an information-gathering function, sensing or intuition, the auxiliary is a decision-making function, thinking or feeling, and vice versa. The tertiary function is less developed than the dominant and auxiliary, but it matures over time, rounding out the person's abilities. The inferior function is the personality type's Achilles' heel. This is the function they are least comfortable with. Like the tertiary, the inferior function strengthens with maturity. Jung and Myers considered the attitude of the auxiliary, tertiary, and inferior functions to be the opposite of the dominant. In this interpretation, if the dominant function is extroverted, then the other three are introverted, and vice versa. However, many modern practitioners hold that the attitude of the tertiary function is the same as the dominant. Using the more modern interpretation, the cognitive functions of the INTJ are as follows.
Dominant, introverted intuition I.
Attracted to symbolic actions or devices, Ni synthesizes seeming paradoxes to create the previously unimagined. These realizations come with a certainty that demands action to fulfill a new vision of the future, solutions that may include complex systems or universal truths.
Auxiliary, extraverted thinking T.
TE organizes and schedules ideas and the environment to ensure the efficient, productive pursuit of objectives. TE seeks logical explanations for actions, events, and conclusions, looking for faulty reasoning and lapses in sequence.
Tertiary, introverted feeling Phi.
Phi filters information based on interpretations of worth, forming judgments according to criteria that are often intangible. Phi constantly balances an internal set of values such as harmony and authenticity. Attuned to subtle distinctions, Phi innately senses what is true and what is false in a situation.
Inferior, extraverted sensing Say.
Say focuses on the experiences and sensations of the immediate, physical world. With an acute awareness of the present surroundings, it brings relevant facts and details to the forefront and may lead to spontaneous action.
Shadow functions.
Later personality researchers, notably Linda V. Behrens, added 4 additional functions to the descending hierarchy, the so-called shadow functions to which the individual is not naturally inclined but which can emerge when the person is under stress. For INTJ, these shadow functions are, in order: extroverted intuition, NI; introverted thinking, T; extroverted feeling, FE; introverted sensing,